Hey guys, it's Kirsten. So I just had this image submit to me about expanding, oh, there's Wilson barking, expanding the background, the solid paper. So I am going to use the new content aware plus something I just learned the other day. Okay, so you can see here in ACR, Adobe Camera Raw, first you check the link down here, make sure it's sRGB. If it's not, click on it, fix it. I just dealt with color space in another group I'm in, and a lot of people don't realize that sometimes when you do an update, it defaults back and you have to switch it back, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I think the exposure is fine. I actually brought the contrast down a smidge. That's probably good. Um, I might bring the highlights up, the shadows up just a smidgy because of her hair. I always bring the whites up just a little bit until you can notice it, and then I stop. So usually 10, 14, 15. Vibrance, I brought up a smidge. And then in the curve, I bring the darks up a little bit. I love that. And then I believe optics here, I always click on these two. I almost never get the aberration, whatever, it's fine. But then I like how it fixes the profile correction with matching the lens that you use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit open. I know that was a lot of information. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the new content aware. So I'm going to grab the lasso, and I'm just going to select this boo-boo area, just a rough select, and then edit, content aware fill. Do not do the old content aware fill, which was, backspace, delete, whatever. We want to go edit, content aware fill. Okay, so we're going to tell, I mean, it does a fantastic job right off the bat, but sometimes I like to just go and minus it anyway and say, don't select near the people. Select just, near where you're at, near where you are, because the light's over there. It's different color over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I think, that's just plenty fine. That's good enough. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, now I'm going to go back on the background layer, get the lasso again. And we're going to go over here because you can see it's a different color because of the where the light placement is. So we're going to go ahead and select that boo-boo, edit, content aware fill. Same thing. I don't want it to select over here. So just minus sign that and minus sign near her. I don't want it sampling her foot. And I say, just sample that is fine. Good enough. That's my motto. Go ahead and hit OK. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is maybe a couple cleanups. So I'm going to do Control J, and I'm going to try the Band-Aid here and just see if I can. Oh, that's a couple specks on my monitor. All right, so sometimes you can get right up in there and it's fine. All right, I think that's good enough. And then the only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the clone. I think I'm going to put it on lighten. I'm going to lower my opacity to I don't know, 50 or 60, whatever. Whoops. Sorry, my bracket keys weren't biggening and smallening. All right, so I think I'm going to just click a good spot right here. Just clean up that little boo-boo right there. All right, I'm not going to worry too much about some of the other stuff. Because shadows are good, right? So you don't want to eliminate too many shadows. I might actually clone. I'm going to put it back on normal. Keep the opacity kind of low. And I'm just going to sample this crease right here and bring it over to the edge. Oh, you know what? I'm going to flatten it first. Then Control J. Oops, I got to make this smaller because it's sampling our foot. And I'm just going to bring that to the edge. All right, that looks good. All right, we're going to start from the top. All right, let's see if I can do this nice and clear. Although this already looks super awesome. But having said that, we're going to hit Control J, make a duplicate layer. under properties, and if you don't see properties, you could always go window properties, and I keep my properties right next to my actions and adjustments up here. Now, you know, you can drag around, drag and drop, you know, whatnot. Okay, so I am going to hit select subject. And this is good enough. Okay, yeah, that looks fine. It's good enough. Okay, so then I'm going to go select, modify, expand, and we're going to expand by 3 pixels and then hit OK. Then we are going to go select, modify, feather, and we're going to feather by 1 pixel and hit OK. Then we're going to hit Control J and duplicate that. So now the couple is on their own layer up here. Okay. Then we're going to hold Control and click on layer 1. We're going to click on layer 2. So that is going to re-highlight the couple. So click on layer 1. Select inverse. So now what it's selecting is all the brown, not the couple. So just the background layer. Okay. So let's see. Then, so layer 1 is highlighted, right? Control J. So now it's a duplicate layer of just the brown. Okay, if that makes sense. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Now, we don't want to go berserk like this because that's too much. They look like stickers, like my daughter says. So let's go to, I don't know, 80. That looks good. And hit OK. Okay, but now let's go on, off, okay? All right, so I love what it does from like here up. I don't love what it does from here down. So what I'm going to do is put a layer mask on, which is the rectangle with a dot. So we have a white layer mask. We're going to get a black brush. We want it to be nice and big, normal, blending mode, and like maybe 50 opacity. Now, nice and big, I'm going to kind of brush to get the original shadows back in. You can see like where his feet are. I'm going to just go like that. And then I'm going to just do a couple little clicks just to get the original floor back in. Because the floor looks good. It makes it look like they're sitting on something, right? But if you look up, that kind of gets rid of, you know, some banding, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And I think this looks super awesome. And if I wasn't talking, this edit would have taken me 5 minutes, right? So if I wasn't explaining, it definitely would have been a super quick edit. Now, the only other thing I do, I'm going to just hit Control J so I can do on, off, whatever. I always end up, or finish up my edits with Liquify, just because it just polishes it up a little tiny bit. So have the brush size match what you're doing. So I'm just going to, you know, wrinkles are totally normal and natural, but I always just, you know, her elbow looks a little pointy just because of the blouse. So I kind of just, you know, smooth out. I think that looks good. Like just like that little tiny divot where the curl is, I might just bring that out a little tiny bit. It's a beautiful picture, by the way. So I'm going to click on preview. See, like, look at her shirt. It just makes it look just a little polished, just a little tiny polished. Beautiful. You know what? I just saw something. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to flatten that. So I do see a wrinkle under her boob. So I have a whole tutorial about boobs and nipples and stuff, but let's start from the top. So I am going to take the lasso, and we're just going to select, because we want to leave the shadow, because that shows that, you know, she has boobs, and they're delightful. Okay, so we're just going to circle the boo-boo here. Then we're going to go do the same thing. Edit, content aware fill. Actually, you know what? That looks pretty awesome. So we don't even need to go crazy, except for I just think it's fun erasing stuff. So I'll say, like, don't sample the sleeve. It's a different material. Photoshop. So I think that looks, oh, that looks even better. So I guess, gosh, maybe the closer I get to the original, what it's sampling from, I think that looks good. Oh, that looks better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Then, oops, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to zoom up on that little booby part. Okay, so one thing that I do is sometimes I will hit Alt, hit the Alt button, and then the layer mask, the rectangle down here. That makes an invert, that does what we just did and then turns it around. So we're going to get a white brush now. So hit X to make it white. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll paint just back over. Oh, let's raise the opacity to 100. There we go. And then you can keep one hand on the X because it'll toggle. And you can kind of play around. Like, what do I like? Blah, blah, blah. So it's not perfect, but my eye goes to the wrinkle there and my eye ignores the wrinkle there. I don't even look at it. Even if I was zoomed up, unless I was the photographer or the editor, it wouldn't even bother me. So, okay, I think that's where I would stop. Okay, enjoy, Mary.